Here it
Okay,
is.
thank
It's
you.
recording. Okay, you want to drink some water? Yeah. Okay, just water for. Okay, that's me.
I see a pretty girl.
Yeah, and I see a pretty man, a handsome man. Here,
Oh, thank you.
here you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was your weekend?
I survived.
You survived. Oh, that's fine.
It was okay.
Okay.
Nothing, nothing special.
Nothing special?
No.
What about your grandchildren? Are they coming on Shabbat? The grandchildren.
Maybe. Natalie makes all the arrangements. My daughter.
The one in Wisconsin. Natalie is in Wisconsin.
No.
Where is she?
She's in Wisconsin. But the one that's making the arrangements is in Marsha.
Is Marsha. Yes, I know. Okay. So last time, I asked you to tell me about Lenore, your wife. Okay? I'll tell you what I know about her, and you tell me some more. Okay? I know she was a tennis player, right?
Yeah,
She was
liked to
playing.
play tennis.
Yes. And I know that she cooked you lunch every time in the middle of the day. You left the store, you came home, and she made you lunch.
Uh-huh.
And that you love to eat every day a different meal, not the same one every day, right?
Okay.
And she was doing it.
Yeah.
Try to tell me more about her. What do you remember about you as a couple? About her. What can you tell me more about her?
Well,
How did she look? I mean, a physical, appearance.
she looks nice. Yeah.
She was nice.
Yeah. She was a young woman.
When you met her, she was 18.
18. Yeah.
Okay.
And the father was working for the post office.
Yeah,
in Chicago.
I remember. Okay.
And
you met her and you went for a date, right? First time.
for the first time I called the woman that thought I should meet her. She knew the family from Europe too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they did the match.
And she was working with my future wife's grandmother from Russia.
Okay.
And they were working in a factory. And they had conversations. And she just said, my daughter is growing up at age to get married, and I'd like
To find her husband.
a Jewish.
A Jewish.
A Jewish.
Yeah. So what was the difference between you two?
In
Yeah.
age,
Yes.
it was okay.
Well, she was 18. You were supposed to be, I think, around your late 20s, like 28, 29,
Well,
I suppose.
Whatever it was, it was.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You remember the time that when you proposed to her? You asked her,
Well,
you remember it?
it was all prearranged,
Okay.
to call her and to meet. And we went to a nightclub in Chicago.
But you liked her because I suppose that you met some women before.
Yeah.
Probably.
Right.
But you've decided that she's the one for you.
Well, I didn't date a lot of women. I came back.
How come? Why
Well,
not? You were busy or what?
No, I was in Kazakhstan.
No, I mean when you were in Wisconsin, in Kenosha.
Yeah.
Okay? You didn't date a lot of women in Kenosha?
No.
You didn't meet with women a lot?
I was busy in the business. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of convenient to you that someone met you. I mean, you
Yeah.
didn't have to put an effort in order to find a woman, but
Yeah.
it
Right.
was convenient somehow.
Right. I met her uncle who was a veteran of World War II,
Okay.
nice family,
Hmm.
and his wife was a teacher, and they were all
Nice to you.
very nice people.
Okay. Okay. And then you got married, right? Okay.
And the wedding was in the Chicago downtown,
Downtown Chicago?
downtown Chicago.
Okay.
So I had my uncles come from New York, and she had an uncle in New York, and he came to the wedding. You know,
You remember her parents?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were nice people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His father was working at the post
At the
office.
post office, yes.
Yeah.
And the mother was a housewife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then she came with you to Kenosha, to live in Kenosha.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, she left Chicago and she went with you
Right.
to live in Kenosha.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And at that time, you were living with your father
Yeah.
and Zelda. Zelda and your father lived together at that time?
Separate homes.
Separate them always?
Yeah.
There wasn't a time when she left her house and came to live with your father at some point?
No, I know it. We had an apartment, and she had a separate apartment
With her
with
son
with
Martin?
son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you at that time before your wedding, you lived with your father,
Yeah.
and after you got married, you bought a house. You rented the house.
Yeah.
You rented the house.
We bought a house.
You bought a house.
Yeah.
You and Lenore.
Yeah.
You and your wife.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You remember the first years of your, marriage? How was it? Was she at home all the time? Actually, she was a kind of a very young woman,
Yeah.
right? She was 18, 19. What did she do
She became a mother.
after, okay, after 1 year? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marsha told me after 3 months, I think, she got pregnant.
Marsha was born.
Marsha was born.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Here, Marsha, we were talking about you. Okay, מה נשמע?
I'm the judge now.
מה?
אני השופטת.
את השופטת, כן, עם השחור, מפחיד.
What?
She says she's the judge now. She's
Uh-huh.
sitting, Okay. So, again, after 3 months, she got pregnant,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
And Marsha was born.
Right.
Right. Okay. You remember that time at all when Marsha was just a baby?
Sure.
What do you remember?
I remember we took a trip to New York,
Okay.
and we visited with my uncle
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, you told me about it, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
after you came back from New York, okay, what was your routine? Tell me about your routine. Daily routine, your routine. Daily life. Tell me about it. What did you do? You got up early in the morning to go to the store?
Yeah.
What I remember is you told me when I was a baby, you still had the ISIS building.
Yeah.
And you would leave me in the buggy.
The what?
You would leave me in the baby buggy, and your father would watch me.
Okay.
Why did he take you to the store?
So that just for a babysitter.
What about your
my
mother?
She could go and do something. So my grandfather would. My father was at the store, but
and your grandfather
my grandfather was
you.
sitting there, and he would watch
you.
the baby. Yeah.
The baby Marsha. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you got up in the morning, you went to the store, okay? until like noon. You go to the house, went to the house, eat your lunch
Yeah.
that Lenore, your wife, prepared to you,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you went back to the store afterwards.
Right.
At that time, the store was closed, or it was open and the other people, like,
No, it wasn't closed.
it wasn't closed.
No.
Okay.
No, because I had my other two brothers and my father there.
Okay. They didn't have a break.
The what?
They didn't have a break in the middle of the day to go for lunch or something.
I don't remember.
You don't
I'm
remember?
sure they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, when you went to the house, you eat your lunch. Lenore was waiting for you, right?
Yeah.
And you went back to the store.
Uh-huh.
Until when? What time did you close the store?
Well, I don't know, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? Okay. And what did you do in the evenings? I mean, you went to the house quite early, like 5, 6 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Did you have social life? What did you do?
Not much of us. Where the TVs. And I don't know, I was involved in the synagogue.
You was involved in the synagogue.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever they needed you, you went.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rabbi spoke Yiddish. He was one of the Russian rabbis.
What language did you speak at home?
At home was Yiddish.
Yiddish with Lenore?
Well,
Lenore, your wife. You both spoke Yiddish,
Yiddish, yeah.
not English,
Well, no?
or mixed.
Mom didn't speak Yiddish. She understood it, but she didn't speak it.
What?
Mom
She spoke
didn't-
English.
We spoke English.
Okay.
Yes.
You spoke English.
Yeah.
So how did you practice Yiddish with someone?
We didn't have to
No, I mean,
practice
did you speak Yiddish with someone? Who did you speak Yiddish with at that time?
with myself.
Yes? Okay.
With your father
With your father.
and Zelda.
Zelda,
Maybe even Marty.
Marty, they all grew up in Yiddish.
All those who were born outside the States.
Well, Zelda and Marty were liberated in California.
Yes. Yeah. So you spoke Yiddish with them. You spoke Yiddish with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Did your wife Lenore ever went out to work outside the house? Did she ever go to work outside the house, Lenore, your wife, or she stayed at home all the time?
She stayed.
She stayed at
Yeah.
home.
She
Okay.
helped in the business, though.
What?
She helped in the business.
With the accounts.
But before they got married, she worked in Marshall Fields, in
Oh.
downtown Chicago.
But she was only 18. She was young.
When she was in high school, she worked.
She worked? Oh, okay. Okay.
Part-time.
But after you got married, she stayed at home. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Natalie was born after 1 year,
Year and a half.
year and a half. Okay. You remember the day that Natalie was born?
I'm sure.
Okay. Now you had 2 kids,
Yeah.
right? Did you think that you spent enough time with them?
I don't know.
What kind of a father were you? What kind of a father?
I tried to do the best I could to be with the children. They both went to New York and met my relatives there. We had an uncle from my father's side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Were you a father, who expresses his feelings what kind of a father? I want to get to know you as a father, not as a businessman. Okay, I'm putting the businessman aside.
Yeah.
I want to know you as a father. What kind of a father were you? I mean, did you hug the children? Did you told them you love them? Did you express your feelings?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean?
I
What?
thought I did all that,
Mm-hmm.
because they were joy. They were, I met them, I introduced them to some of my friends from Poland. They lived in the Chicago and New York area.
You mean you took them to New York for a visit?
Yeah.
Okay.
They went to visit my
Uncles.
aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
But in New Jersey, there were some survivors from Romanov and from Russia. So we went to visit them.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the kids. With
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did go a number of times. We went to weddings. We went to visit Uncle Moshe when he was dying.
The
And I
at what
remember
age? How old were you?
I was a child, but I remember. I was old enough to remember the 18-hour drive.
I drove there.
Amen.
18 hours drive,
To
she
New York.
says.
Yeah. In Kila.
Wow. Did you stop on the way? Did you
Sure.
Yeah,
sleep on a
sometimes we
motel or
went.
something?
Sometimes we, well, did we stop in hotels? I don't think so.
We
But
took some food
we
along.
sometimes
Wow.
we went with his brothers too. We drove in a number of cars when we went to a wedding. And we got stuck in a snowstorm after the wedding. I remember some
Oh.
action
Uh-huh.
happening, but we had a lot of family.
It
We-
wasn't
we-
common to fly
We
there.
celebrate. No, because it was a whole family.
It was too expensive.
It was
Who was the other family you talking?
we drove with your brothers when we went to Suan's wedding. I think Barbara and Eddie were there. Probably
My
Esther and
uncle,
Bernie. Everyone
my
went.
mother's brother, they adopted
A daughter.
a daughter.
Oh, okay.
And when she got married,
You all went to
we
New
all
York.
went. Yeah, that was fun
Okay.
because usually there weren't a lot of Jewish weddings. There were hardly any Jewish affairs
Where? In
in
Kenosha?
Kenosha. When my cousin Mark had a bar mitzvah, it was a huge deal. It was big. You know,
Why?
like-
Why was it like that? Because there were a Jewish community in Kenosha, right?
There was, but it wasn't.
It was
It
what?
was
All
very small. If they had a bar mitzvah, it was just in the synagogue. It was very.
What about
There weren't
weddings?
any.
Most of the
Or big
people
parties.
were old, so that's why.
Well, yeah, I don't know why.
Martin was bar mitzvah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe people didn't invite everybody like they do here,
Mhm.
so
It wasn't
So it
like
was
a
mostly
community, a very,
family. There was a community,
It was
but
around the shul. The shul.
But the
we
girls
had bar
didn't
mitzvah
have-
in the
Okay.
shul.
right, there weren't any bat mitzvahs. Usually, it was confirmation. I didn't have a bat mitzvah because we had something else. We had like graduation from Sunday school later.
Well, they didn't have bar mitzvahs for the
So-
girls.
only for the boys.
And, yeah,
Bar
we had
mitzvah.
for the Orthodox.
Right, and it was hard to have a kosher affair because there was no kosher place or even kosher style. Everything was nekniyot shel
But
chazir
then we-
inanve.
But people, like Jewish people, didn't open like kosher businesses. I mean,
Restaurants now.
restaurants.
No, because most of the Jews were integrated. You know, most of the Jews grew up in the United States, and they didn't keep kosher in that city. And in order
That's
to buy
interesting.
kosher meat, you had to go to Chicago or Milwaukee.
Okay.
So So having kosher meat was
We knew,
once in a while.
Okay.
but
Okay.
we knew the
The
people
money,
in Milwaukee, there were a lot of survivors.
In Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Milwaukee is a bit.
And Chicago also.
וויסקונסין? לא ידעתי לאן לשייך
זה היה
אותה.
כמו סנדוויץ', כמו שהייתה, כמו שאתה באמצע, מילווקי ושיקגו,
אוקיי.
גם מישיגן.
אוקיי.
אז יש מילווקי,
And they bought some furniture from us. And we delivered to Milwaukee. You know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You remember the size of the Jewish community in Kenosha? How many people
there were a lot
were
of
there?
survivors. There
But
was
how
a-
many? What?
there-
How many people?
Hundreds,
You know,
hundreds.
hundreds?
Yeah.
No, was smaller.
maybe 100 families, but
Yeah.
each of them,
We went to
each of the children's
entertainment.
classes was very small. I had 5 in my class, my age. In
Uh-huh.
my sister's age group, there was nobody.
Wow. So what did you do? I mean,
But she had no Jewish friends.
who?
you mean
That's-
Jewish? Okay,
Okay.
all right.
She had no Jewish friends in her grade level. In
Who?
my Natalie, there
Oh.
was
Uh,
maybe one kid her age. But in my age group, there were about 5, and I was friends with,
5 Jewish?
yeah. So 2 were boys and 3 were girls, 5 other than me. So I was friends with the 3 girls.
You didn't got friendly with non-Jewish?
I did, but we spent a lot of time with the Jews, and we were kind of singled out. So it was, it
From
was part
school.
of our community, because we had Sunday school, Hebrew school, and we were friends with the families, so
You didn't
we were old friends.
too much. You didn't
Yeah.
too much integrate. I mean,
Also in the neighborhood, for instance, the children would play outside in the evening, and my mother sent me to bed at 7 o'clock in the evening in the summertime, where
Wow.
I could hear all the children playing outside.
wow. They were afraid you were being like,
She claimed that I needed my sleep. Okay.
but it wasn't that.
That I was already a
Yeah.
teenager. I was already old enough. Maybe not a teenager, but I was old enough to.
Yeah.
but these people
Find my
talked
way
about
home.
Hanukkah at school and the Jewish holidays. And
Yeah.
They would
You-
invite.
So.
That's interesting.
So
what
you
you're
say,
saying. I
we
mean,
were segregated because of ourselves, not.
because you
not
choose,
so- it
you
was-
choose to
well, it
segregate
wasn't-
yourself.
Well, it turned out that way, because of the parents and because.
The parents choose
right,
to segregate you
Yeah.
from the. Yeah.
as much as they could.
Yes.
Mhm.
They were afraid that you would
Right.
be.
At some point, my mother wanted me to have friends, and so she encouraged me to go out.
Even though it would be like Christians or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she could see that. Otherwise, I would be stuck at home watching TV, and she would just come and turn off the TV. Or I read a lot of books, and so she could see that I didn't have.
It's better you go
well,
out than.
it's- yeah. I mean, I was also
But they
particular.
tried to.
And I was very, choosy about who was my friend. So
But
if I
did
had
they
a good
ever-
friend and they moved away, then I was, I was alone. I
Yeah.
had one good friend who was a neighbor, and
Yeah, but
I
you
didn't,
tried to.
I didn't know what to do after they moved, because then I had to go to sleep at 7 o'clock in the evening when everyone was out playing. So
But they were all
I never
friendly
really got
and
to know the
cultural.
children in the
That's my
neighborhood.
man.
Yeah. But you.
Did they ever tell you-
היהודים לא רוצים שהבנות יצאו עם גויים, נכון?
אוקיי.
אז היהודים אלה שהם בעצם.
Did they ever tell you in words not to get friendly with?
Ask him. I told you.
Right.
Even in front of.
Huh?
I told you a boy came to our house and.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
What?
Now I asked Marsha if you ever told her and Natalie not to go with non-Jewish,
Oh,
boys. Have you ever spoke about it? I mean,
every day.
oh really?
Every day and every opportunity.
Okay.
well, we joined the Jewish synagogue. They they walked with me to Saturday to the synagogue.
So you try to keep the girls in the Jewish community, not
Every
let
day.
them to get integrated with
Yeah,
non-Jewish.
yeah.
Yeah. It was like hard to do it. What do you
Well,
remember?
we didn't have a non-Jewish experience before. They were the first children, Jewish children. So it was something new for me and for the children. But we, like Nedley, had friends with the doctor's daughter. What's her name?
Rattans.
What?
Mark Rattan.
Bratton.
What? What about them?
He was a popular children's doctor.
Her friends weren't Jewish, but they came from good families. That's what he's trying to say.
Okay.
Who?
Natalie's friends.
Yeah.
She had good friends, and they came from good families, but they weren't Jewish.
No, right.
Right.
So.
He wasn't Jewish, but he was a doctor.
That's a dilemma.
Well, the doctors and the non-Jewish doctors and the Jewish doctors, they were close friends.
So Dr. Rattan had Jewish friends.
So the doctor won,
He was okay. That was
even though it
Yeah.
was okay.
He was okay as long as they were girlfriends. If it was boyfriends, then
She's married to a Jew?
no.
Natalie.
No. I don't think she ever went out with a Jew.
Really? Okay. Wow, that's a story to talk about. Okay. Okay, so you try to keep the girls from, be with non-Jewish boys.
Well,
It was important to you. Why it was so important to you?
No. They played tennis with non-Jewish boys at the club. They went swimming. You know, it wasn't perfect, but it was okay. You know. See, we used to get together on a Sunday. A lot of Jewish people from the temple and non-Jewish people in the Jewish community. And we all became integrated like close friends.
Mhm.
You know.
Did you have a lot of non-Jewish friends? You and your wife. Did you have non-Jewish friends?
Not to entertain at home. No.
So you had connection, business connection, but not social ones,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why. The diet and everything. We used to go buy kosher meat in Milwaukee and Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a lot of non-Jewish friends. I mean, real friends.
See, they tried to, a lot of them were Jewish friends of the temple because as people they were friends.
But in the business, you had connection with non-Jewish people, right?
Our customers were,
Customer or business, another businessman.
we had Jewish customers, Jewish survivors
Mhm.
from Milwaukee.
But I'm talking about non-Jewish.
Yeah.
With the Jew, it's easy. What about the non-Jews? You didn't invite
No, it was
to your house, never.
no social life.
No social.
No,
Okay. Why it was so important to you to keep the
because this is how we grew up
what do you
in
mean?
a Jewish community with non-Jews. We never invite non-Jews to our homes for dinner. You know,
Why? I know, but why?
because they separated. The Jews were a separate community in Poland.
But in Poland, in Rimanov, you had non-Jewish friends, right? In
Well,
Rimanov.
There were people that we knew from the synagogue and bar mitzvahs, and we had
Yes.
connections.
Okay. And in Kenosha, you were tried very hard not to get friendly with the non-Jewish
Right,
community.
sure,
Why? What was your thinking? Why was it?
because we wanted to stay Jewish.
Okay.
And we knew if you get mixed up, you're gonna go to church, and you're not gonna be quite all Jewish.
Okay.
See, the non-Jews also had their communities. They had their church and their dinners in their communities, and nothing was ever kosher. So there's no reason if you're not going to keep kosher and you can't eat the food.
Yeah, but you can go for a movie together, or you can, do,
Right.
some activities
So I
together.
had friends, and
So I just wanted to hear that you wanted to,
Right,
yeah.
right. I mean,
You would go
that
to
was
Chicago.
normal, right?
Yeah.
We met Jewish people in Chicago and Milwaukee.
They were among the Jewish community, okay? There were people who integrated with the local,
Maybe a little bit.
Sure. Marty integrated.
What?
Marty went to school there and he integrated. Marty had lots of non-Jewish friends.
Okay.
And how did you see it? I mean, it was like, what? Regular thing? Or you kind of... Marsha said that Marty went with non-Jewish, friends, okay? So how did you see it in your eyes? It was
Well,
okay? You were worried?
He went in the army, and he was.
But when he was younger,
yeah.
at school?
He went to had bar mitzvah in the synagogue.
Yeah, he had drinking buddies. He would drink a lot of alcohol.
But he had a bar mitzvah.
Yeah, but later on.
Sure.
Okay, but afterwards, when he was like 18, 19, 20.
Well, then he was in the army, and it was with non-Jews, yeah.
Maybe he doesn't really know exactly what
It
Marty
wasn't
was
like in Europe, it was more closer with the Jewish people.
Marty was like a playboy. It was the playboy generation. He was really into.
And how did they take it? I mean, Zelda
Marty.
or his father, how did they see Marty's integrated?
Yeah.
I mean,
they accepted.
They accepted it?
So they had to be realistic.
Okay.
They wanted everybody to be happy.
Really.
So also, although you wanted to keep the Jewish community as a Jewish, you knew that this is the reality.
Sure, we had a Pesach.
Yeah. You
Jewish.
celebrated the Jewish holidays.
Right, but in the end, Marty married 2 Jewish women. When he married Irene, it was a huge celebration.
Oh, it was in Kenosha?
Yeah, he had a bar mitzvah.
Yeah, but Marsha says he was married to a Jewish woman.
The wedding was in Paris, wasn't it?
Who?
The wedding was in Paris.
Well,
Marty got married in Paris.
But it was still a huge... we had a lot of parties.
No.
With all the sisters.
Marty's mother and Irene's mother, Paris, were friends.
Okay.
In Poland and in France.
So they got married in Paris. The marriage took place in Paris.
Yeah. She left Paris and she met a Polish man in Paris. And she married him.
Wait, Irene's mother? You're talking about Irene's mother?
Yeah. She married a Jewish man from.
So but where was she from?
What?
Irene's mother, was she also Polish?
He was Polish Jew.
And Irene's mother, she was Polish also? Or she,
Yeah.
Irene's mother?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And how did they meet, Marty and Irene? Okay. Okay.
So then,
Well, they,
Zelda
were,
was a relative of Irene's mother.
they tried to connect
Some kind
them.
of relative.
But Irene was in Paris?
Yeah.
And when did
And she
Irene,
came
how,
to visit.
The wedding was
with him, with Irene?
Yeah.
With Irene.
Yeah, they
No,
came
Irene
to
came
Kenosha.
visit Zelda and Marty.
Yeah.
When
They
she
came
was
to Kenosha.
17,
And at 17,
something like that.
And she was
and that was the first time they met, she and Marty.
And then she came back the next summer, and it was
Oh yeah. It
fireworks.
was what laugh.
Fireworks.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
For the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were kind of related, but
But the father and mother were in business in Paris.
Okay.
And they would take us to the Jewish synagogues in Paris. And I used to go. They had Jewish organizations for the Jewish magazines
Okay.
that they were operating in Paris. And then there was a person that was very active among the non-Jewish, among the Jewish community in Paris, from Romanov,
Okay.
Zalman Frederick.
What did he do?
What?
What did he do? I mean,
He would conduct services
okay.
for high holidays.
In Paris?
Yeah. And he was very active
Okay.
among the Jewish community in Paris.
he was also a diplomat.
What?
He was a kind of a diplomat.
Yeah, he was an Israeli diplomat.
An Israeli?
Yeah. Well, he was a Jewish.
Okay.
I think he was in contact with Shimon Peres, and he had a lot of connections in the government in Paris.
See, like, I went to this Jewish organization, and I said, I'd like to see Zalman Frederick. And they said, how do you know Zalman Frederick? He's a big man here. He conducts services for the whole community in Hebrew, and he has an office. And I said, how about calling him on the phone? And
When was it? When you went to Paris?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you met with him?
Zalman Frederick was my brother's age. They went to school together.
Oh.
Bernie's age?
What?
Bernie's?
Furnace. And they lived across from the public school in Romanov.
So you met him?
Yeah.
How was it?
Well, he had a book of a lot of Israelis, and there was a problem at the time where the Israelis got involved in hijacking an Israeli ship or something. That they were going to take it hostage. There was some political things going on between French government and Palestine at the time. And he made arrangements with the Israeli government to make things quiet. And he invited us to go to a meeting of the French government officials. I had some pictures. They never saved any.
I think they're in an album. Yeah. It looks like you went to a nightclub with him.
The what?
It looks like you went to a nightclub with him.
A
Also.
nightclub too. Went to a Russian nightclub. They were playing a lot of Jewish music.
So you remember the good experience?
Sure.
Mhm.
I still say it's a Welt mit kleiner Welterlich.
Yeah. Okay, and then you came back to Kenosha,
Right.
right? Okay.
Kenosha was good because the business was
Successful?
successful. Yeah.
Okay. How did the business influence your life? I mean, okay, you were working a lot in the business?
What?
You were working a lot in the business?
A lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how the successful of the business, how did it influence your life, your daily life, or your daughter's life?
Well, it was. They went to Hebrew school and to
You mean you had enough money to let them go to
Yeah.
a Hebrew school and
Sure. She
Summer
went.
camp. We
They
went to
both
summer
of them.
camp.
They
To
both
it,
of them
yeah.
went to a religious school from the Reform movement.
okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean a religious school? What do you mean? What
Well,
was it?
Sunday school.
A Jewish
Sunday school.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't
And
Okay.
it was out of town.
Mm.
out of town.
Yeah.
Then maybe you're talking about summer camp.
Summer
the
camp.
Reform
Summer
movement.
camp?
Summer camp.
Was it a Jewish summer
It
camp?
was Jewish.
A Jewish
Yeah,
church.
it was Zionist.
And they had
Okay.
people that spoke on television in Chicago about the school. You know, it was
Yeah.
very Americanized
Mm.
Jewish school.
So the money you earned let you give your daughters, go to some Jewish
Yeah,
activities
we
or
paid for that.
yes. Okay.
It was about 35, 40 kilometers from Kenosha.
No, it was farther.
What?
Mm?
It was farther than that.
Somebody
Yeah,
farther.
it was north of Milwaukee,
But they made a lot of
near the.
Jewish friends there. And one of the women they became friends with, the mother, we met recently.
The mother.
She married an Israeli, the daughter.
Okay.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Maybe it was you're thinking about a group of of parents of people who made Aliyah. Maybe no. Who are you talking about? The mother.
Did you meet the mother? The mother's daughter married an Israeli. And
I know who you're talking about. Okay, she was older than I am.
yeah.
Okay, Marge Black.
Marge
Black.
See? You remember better than she.
No, but it was okay. She didn't go to camp with me. She was older than I was, and when she went to
I
work
know,
there
but
as
she
a
just-
camp counselor.
She just married met her there when I was
This-
in the
This
same
woman, Marge
complex.
Black, she was at his Dior Mugan. She was in
Okay.
assisted
Okay.
living, and she's a Jewish woman.
Okay.
Her daughter was a camp counselor who was older than me, and she married another Israeli camp counselor. Yeah.
Oh.
So Marge Black was is the mother, right? But I didn't go to camp with her daughter. I was much
Okay.
younger than
No, but
Debbie Black.
you
right?
knew that she married
Right.
an
And
Israeli.
Marge is this woman, right?
The
who
daughter
is
married
older
an
than
Israeli.
him. She's almost 100 years old.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And she
And
lived,
she's very socially active.
I lived
Yes.
in a
Still?
place where two hotels.
Right. At the assisted living. Yes.
She lived in one and I lived in another. We would see each other
Uh-huh.
at dinner and brunches.
Yeah.
Can you
But
tell
he
me?
also-
Okay.
Her husbands used together with the B'nai Zedek, which was the Orthodox
Mm.
synagogue. They used to get together on some weekends, and have some Jewish entertainment. They had one of the nicest jewelry stores in Kenosha.
It's still going on, right?
What?
Your daughter-in-law
Oh,
keeps it going.
Expensive thing.
oh, that's nice. So, what did most of the Jewish people in Kenosha?
Uh-huh.
Most of them had businesses or all kind of
Some of them had
jobs.
businesses. Most of them.
A lot of them had
Yeah.
businesses, some were lawyers, some were doctors,
Yeah.
and everyone,
Were
Helps
Jewish
each
doctors and
other.
lawyers.
if there was, right, if I went to a Jewish store, they would give me a discount. If I went to a Jewish doctor, he would,
Oh. So it was like what,
Do it
one
for
big
free.
family, you can say.
it was more like that, yeah.
Like one of them is still living across the street where we lived. And we still keep in touch with us. You don't know who I'm talking about?
One of who?
Who lived across the street?
A neighbor?
That's the what's her name got very friendly with him. With her.
You're talking about, you're talking about the eye doctor's daughter? Is that who you're talking about?
No, he was a general practitioner. The lefts.
They lived around the
Bud
block.
left,
Yeah, they lived around the block.
yeah,
Okay.
around the block.
Yeah,
Bud left
yeah.
and Evie left. So when my brother came from Israel, they tried to take him into,
The business?
no, they invited him
Socially.
for
Ah,
dinners
socially?
Friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
and for other things because he didn't speak English.
Mm.
So Esther got a job in the
Right. That was,
cosmetics.
Yeah.
And
it was also
Vernon
part
was
of the Lev
working for
family.
him.
Okay. So they
What?
The
I
left
didn't
family?
realize they helped her get a job at
They used to go there for Pesach
business. Okay.
and some other holidays. And
Yeah.
they are still keeping in touch.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then
They're very warm
he
people.
invited the two of them for Jewish holidays, for Pesach and other holidays.
So you had close relationships with the Jewish,
With everybody.
with
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were invited for dinners,
Yeah.
and you also
We would go
invited
to,
people to your house, and you had
yeah, we
social.
would go to parties. They tried to keep kosher at the parties.
Oh, okay.
Food, meat, we had to, we had to buy kosher meat.
I want to ask you still about the segregation. I mean, you were segregated as a Jewish community, right? There were other communities. Did you ever feel something anti-Semitic towards you or one of your family or neighbors? Or did you ever hear about someone who experienced anti-Semitism there?
We had every nationality in our business. A lot of people that bought furniture from us
Mm-hmm.
had a background of European ancestry,
Mm-hmm.
German and others. Almost every nationality were customers of ours in the store. And I could speak German to them and Polish. There was a large Polish community.
Yeah.
I became very friendly with the Polish community there.
You see, he had such a rich social life during his work hours that he didn't feel like he
needed more.
I used to go to Polish picnics.
Oh.
And
But what about your mother? In that, I mean, what? It's a big
What?
question.
Yeah,
Okay. No, what?
He was fine, so.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was fine.
Who?
So everyone was fine.
אוקיי, אני צריכה לקרוא בין השורות של החיוכים שלך גם לפעמים.
No, I'm just saying that my husband also meets a lot of people during the day, and he sits and has coffee and is very social, and he works hard, but he.
Yeah, but you know, it's a different time. I mean,
It's,
it's
everything
different.
is different.
I don't know. You can tell me. I don't know what.
And then
She
in the
was
evening it's
satisfied
time-
with her
The
life.
evening is time to rest, and why go out if you can eat at home? And,
But we came to the wedding here, we sent some furniture here, a couple of times.
yeah.
You
It's
think
still-
that your wife Lenore was satisfied from her life? She was satisfied. You know, you were busy with the business. You had a connection with other people.
She
And
was
what-
connected too at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah,
In what way? What do you mean?
in every way. Socially,
She had a lot of friends.
I didn't. Yeah,
She
I
had
didn't
her
deny
high school
her
friends.
friendship
Chicago.
with non-Jews.
Jewish?
Yeah.
Only
Mm.
Jewish?
Yeah. Chicago was very Jewish.
Okay.
Who?
Have you heard of Jewish geography? When two Jews meet, they play Jewish geography. Do you know this one? If you know.
It still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's a connection.
Yeah.
But the question is, who are the racists? Maybe the Jews are the racists. Maybe the Jews are the ones who.
Maybe.
But there were,
Segregated
Segregate
themselves,
themselves.
yes.
there were a lot of Polish Jews, and
They were what?
there were many Polish Jews connected with the Jewish organizations, with the Polish Jews in the Chicago area,
Okay.
in the suburbs of Chicago. I don't know if you remember, it was advertised in the newspapers all over the world. The Nazis came to Skokie. Skokie is the area where there was the largest Jewish community living in
The survivors.
ever.
What? It's near Chicago?
Yeah,
Okay.
north of Chicago.
Okay.
It's between Kenosha and Chicago. And there was a group of Nazis that came to the outside the synagogue, the Jewish synagogue, and they tried to make some problems for the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
They were stopped by the American government and the local government, who were in charge. But it was written up in the newspapers.
What year? What year?
In the
1970?
1970s.
It was big news
University then.
in the Chicago area.
Okay.
What's the name?
And what is anybody got killed or something or
No,
It was very traumatic for the survivors to see
the
the
Nazis?
neo-Nazis.
but they
Very
came
scary.
in uniform and they were making problems for the Jewish community. And the non-Jewish community was supporting the Jewish community.
Oh, okay.
And, but this was big news in the Skokie area.
Skokie area?
Skokie, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Northbrook of Chicago.
And after that, something changed? No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's in
so they
1977.
segregated.
Seven? Okay.
Remembering the Nazis in Skokie.
Skokie.
They opened a Holocaust museum in Skokie, so they remembered.
Skokie is the suburbs of Chicago,
We had
the
population.
Jewish area.
Yeah, 40,000 out of 70,000 were Jewish.
Oh,
And 5,000 were survivors of the Holocaust.
What?
I'll read about it.
You heard about it?
No, I will read about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But then the majority of the American organizations were supportive of the Jews.
The Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
The-
I'm not sure it's going to be true for today.
What do you mean?
I'm not sure that the local,
Yeah.
people will support the Jews as they did at that time. I'm not sure.
Things change.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at that time, they were out with people and
With the Jewish people, and they supported them
Yeah,
against the Nazis, the neo-Nazis.
the neo-Nazis. And there were a lot of articles written, and there was a lot of television.
Who supported the Jews? Who
Oh,
took side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Not
supported.
today.
They were against the Nazis. Yeah. See here, it gives you.
Yeah, they argued
I think I have
the meaning,
many
the
articles.
meaning of the Constitution
I
at
think.
the time.
You have.
What?
They debated the meaning of the Constitution, the free speech.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have some articles that I
So it
used to
says
send.
that the village of Skokie argued that the display of the swastika promoted swastika
Mm.
It
It was
promoted
that-
hatred against persons of Jewish faith or ancestry, and that
It was also a memorial for the Jewish survivors in the Holocaust, and the Nazis tried to disintegrate it, make trouble.
Yeah.
tried to what? What did you say? Disintegrate?
Yeah, they to damage it.
Um,
You know, they were against having.
the march, right? The march was not
The what?
approved. The march wasn't approved, but it was a whole public argument,
Yeah.
debate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very involved. I would come to all these demonstrations.
Oh, really?
And speak it.
You spoke?
Yeah, I spoke.
About what? I mean,
I was a
tell me-
survivor.
so what? You told your story? You
Yeah.
told your story?
Yeah.
He was very outspoken.
Yeah. He likes it. Yes. Okay.
But I was very accepted in that group because
What group?
the survivors
Sudan.
from Chicago, they call it, in Skokie. They were mostly from the Chicago area, but they incorporated Jews from everywhere,
Yeah.
supporting the Jewish cause.
I mean, I'm asking myself, I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
Why did the ones who came to Kenosha, why did they come to Kenosha? Of all the states of the great United States, why to Kenosha?
Well, there
What was in Kenosha?
There were several people that came from different places in the United States and started businesses.
In Kenosha?
Yeah, and they were successful.
Yeah.
And then they went to Milwaukee from Kenosha, and then to the Chicago, not the Chicago, but another area. But like the Cows,
Yeah.
Cow family.
So they moved.
There was,
They moved in and they moved
Huh?
out. You know, Kenosha was a car manufacturing town. There was a harbor on Lake Michigan, and it was the home of American Motors Corporation. It was
Okay.
across the lake from Detroit, where
So
they
it was like
manufactured cars. And there was-
kind of a junction between what? Chicago area?
Milwaukee.
it was like a hub of manufacturing, and it was on the harbor. So Lake Michigan was a big shipping area. At the time, they
We
used
had
to take
ships
ships
from it.
more than trucks.
Okay.
So they could ship the cars straight from the factory. The factory was right on the harbor, and
What cars?
they were. It was American Motors. They were cars that was called. They were called the Rambler.
Rambler?
The Rambler.
Okay.
Maybe.
I
And he
was
also
an
worked in
employee.
the factory at first while he
Oh.
was starting his business.
Really? Oh,
To make
Yeah.
I
money.
didn't
They
know
could make
that.
good money in the factory.
Oh,
See the
as
fact,
what?
like in Chicago, in New York, in the jewelry business, you would get $1 an hour, you know,
Okay.
as a new employee. And that was supposed to be a good wage. And the Kenosha factory was like two and a half hours,
Dollars.
$2.5 per hour.
$2.5 per hour. Yeah. And it was an assembly line. You know what assembly
Yeah, I
is?
understand.
They would start out with a motor line or the what do you call it?
The bumper. Go ahead.
No, everything else.
Right. Yeah.
It would be go. It was a line.
And everyone had
All
something
you had
to
to
They
do-
have
assemble.
an station, is in the, yeah, I
It
understand.
would, the line would move. And all
And you had to put
do
something, yeah.
a certain part.
So what did you put on?
What?
What did you attach? What did you assemble?
Motors.
How long have you worked there? For
I
how
worked
long?
there for several months in the beginning.
Oh,
Like I was
that's
making,
new to me. I didn't know that.
like I was making in New York $40 a week, and there I was making like $200 a week. But there were hardly any Jewish people working at the factory.
Hardly.
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 But I made friends with men and women there. I brought some sandwiches with me, you know. And we would take, you know, time off during work, you know.
Mm.
I remember they came by once, the union came by. I got another job, and you're supposed to make so many pieces, you know,
Okay.
per hour, whatever. And I was overdoing it.
And they told you to slow down or what?
Yeah, they made movies about that.
They said, take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many were you making?
You know,
How many more were you making?
I was making more than double the wages. And there was a young woman there, and she had a dirty job, a machine that produced, you know, uh, she would get wet and dirty. It was a dirty job.
Yeah.
And I walked up to her and I says, why did you take this job here like this? And so she said, because it pays better. And I'm engaged to get married. we need the extra money. So she was working on a machine that would get wet
Mhm. in order to get more money.
What?
In order to get more
Yeah,
money.
and she was a good-looking woman. You know, young and good-looking. And she said, it's simple.
I need the
I
money.
need the money. They call it assembly line.
Assembly?
Assembly line. And this would be American Motors started it. They had people come from the south, from the north. There were a lot of immigrated
Mm.
people that would settle in Kenosha with a large income of help. And a lot of them were customers.
It was a successful company
A lot
if
of
they could afford themselves to pay you good wage.
Yeah, right.
Right, until it wasn't successful, and when they started importing the Japanese cars, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
then the whole
They
American.
killed the market, yeah.
Right.
Like today.
But that
Same as
became
today.
The same with the furniture businesses too.
Oh,
All of the
really?
furniture factories closed down
oh, because what?
because China started
China?
making
Wow.
furniture.
Oh.
Yeah.
they would have more than 5,000 people working in the factory.
That's true.
A
Now,
big one.
now it's an empty lot.
Yeah.
Now it's a marina. They made a marina there. It's a
Yeah.
big park and it's very beautiful.
Oh,
It's by the lake.
Yeah.
it's even better, I
It's
think.
much better. Yes. It was very ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a lot of pollution there.
Yeah.
But I would go bring a sandwich for lunch. And we would socialize.
Yeah.
We would have a break for lunch.
Okay.
Before that, I was working in a jewelry store.
And in the brewery?
No, a jewelry store.
A jewelry store. Oh, I
In New
didn't know
York.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Near Rockefeller Center
Where?
in New York
In
City.
New York?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was my first job. Because
Oh, actually, you told me about it. Now I
my
remember.
uncle
Yeah.
knew the people that owned it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they hired me to take orders and go in the store and pick the merchandise, get it all together, and give it to the office people.
Yeah, yeah. I think you told me about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So I remember I used to hum a Russian song. Расцветал яблони грудь. She says, you shouldn't be playing Russian songs.
אנחנו מסיימים בשירה וזה כבר.
The what?
I said if we have always finished our talk with singing, so it's great.
Was that communist? Was it considered communist to
Yeah,
sing
it
in
was a
Russian?
Russian song.
Yeah.
She
So-
says,
I thought if you run out of subjects to talk about, you can also work on his Hebrew. You can read newspapers
In Hebrew?
or books.
Well,
or-
I do have still,
they gave us-
subjects to talk with him because it was
Yeah.
like,
Right. There's that.
a lot of fear that we
Yeah.
didn't talk about.
and I told them,
But I'm trying to take him to certain,
Yeah.
subject, but it's hard, אבל אני צריכה לראיין אותך קצת,
כן.
לראות את נקודת המבט שלך.
כן.
כן.
Yeah,
עכשיו
yeah.
שנודע לי שגם,
אני מאוד סבלתי. כן.
זהו, אז אני ריגשתי ככה.
כן. בתור
Because-
בוגרת.
when we made plans to leave New York, the uncle in New York gave us a truck, a truck to deliver it to Kenosha.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So Bernie is the one that drove it at the time. My brother.
ונתלי הרגישה אחרת ממך?
כן.
זה מעניין, כי בסך הכל יש שנה ביניכם.
כן, אבל היא הייתה בוגרת, היה לה יותר קל להיות בודדת
הילדות.
לחיות האלה, כן.
But I was singing.
מעניין אותי, זה לא עכשיו, אבל מעניין אותי גם הקטע שהחליטה
זה
להתחתן.
היה ממש כמו בגידה, זה היה ממש כמו
שהתחתנה עם
הגב, כן.
וזה שהתחתנה עם לא יהודי, זה היה משבר במשפחה או לא? כן?
כן.
זה אני רוצה לדבר איתו על זה.
But at
אבל כל
work,
הזמן מתחמק לי. אני לוקחת אותו לאזורים כאילו קצת בעייתיים, הוא ככה עושה לטור.
at work, people like to keep themselves preoccupied with some songs. And if they came from Russia, they like to sing some Russian songs.
It was easier to pass the time like this, huh?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so interesting of a job.
No.
No, so
So the girls in the office, they say, it's a no-no to sing the Russian songs.
don't sing the Russian song.
Because you'll get arrested and
What?
you'll get arrested for being a communist.
Well,
כן,
they were communists.
בזמן מסוים כן.
The what?
In a certain time in the history of United States, if you sang Russian song, you could be arrested.
Well,
Because,
being a
in the
communist.
time of the McCarthyism,
I just told them these are they hired some Jewish painters in New York, and they liked to sing. They came from Russia, so they would go and paint the walls. Go, a Russian song, and they would try to tell them, you don't do that. He says, this is America, not Russia.
Who said that?
Well, the people that were
around them.
Yeah.
around them,
So they stopped working?
Okay.
but they did what they did in Russia. They tried to
Yeah.
keep themselves preoccupied.
Yeah.